Phil.
Are you listening? Damn.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Race to 100. I am your co-host, Rick Thorsell.
And I'm your co-host, Neil Patang. Thank you for tuning in once again.
And we are on episode number 24 right now.
Episode 24.
So we're a little behind the 8 ball on this, but a recent ruling by the Supreme Court on Monday, this past Monday, came down called Foster v. Chapman. And this was a case that had to do with jury selection.
Okay.
And it's a complicated story, but long story short, basically the prosecution was trying this guy on death row. He was a black man, and the jury pool included black potential jurors, which were all struck specifically, and this was noted in the notes, specifically because they were black. And the Supreme Court said that that is not okay. And the defense was, well, there's all these other reasons too why these jurors could be disqualified, but ultimately the Supreme Court said it is unconstitutional for somebody to have even an underlying reason that has to do with racial discrimination. So this starts a whole conversation right now about unconscious and subconscious bias that we might have. So let me ask you, Neil, what sort of bias do you believe that you have when it comes to black or white individuals? Do you believe that you have a bias?
I don't. Me personally, I
That
don't.
when you see a black man or when you see a white man or a white woman, black woman, that you have a particular perception.
There is no bias. Generally speaking, in the black community, we aren't biased. We try to see the individual within for who they are and what they're worth. You know, judge me for the quality of my character and not the color of my skin. That's how we try to see things.
So let me blow your mind a little bit right now, because this has been an area of study that's taken a lot of intense interest of researchers on race and subconscious bias that we have. Now, these researchers, and I'm gonna just read a brief synopsis of what this looks like. And you said that you don't really see yourself having a bias. I think a lot of other people, whether you're white or black, would say that they have a bias. But researchers found that white and black children between the ages of 5 and 10 responded with a high rate of what's called a white bias. And that identifies lighter color skin with positive attributes.
Oh, yeah.
And darker color skin with negative attributes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Now, when
Light skin versus dark skin.
absolutely. So the lighter your skin, the better you are.
Yeah.
So and there was this old research experiment that had a lot of it had white and black girls, like 10 years old or something like that, playing with Barbies. Which is the good Barbie? There was a black Barbie and a white Barbie, and it was like 99% of the time, or maybe even 100% of the time, where the girls would pick the white Barbie. And when it came to the black girls picking the white Barbie, there was this like look of confusion. Which one's the good one? It's like, wait just a second, but my color is the one that's not good. So what does that mean?
And then I see.
So there's this like subconscious bias that we don't even realize that we're doing. But researchers have done a lot of in-depth psychoanalysis of the way that looks. And so when we have negative prejudice or act a certain way negatively towards a person of the different skin color, and it tends to be black, that tends to be it tends to be, we tend to rationalize it. We tend to rationalize it from so many other reasons, like, oh, well, this person, he's wearing a sweater or something like that, something external. But in reality, it crosses all lines that it's a subconscious racial bias. The color of your skin, based off of the way that the image is portrayed by mass media and by cultural stereotypes.
So basically, the lighter the skin of one person, the less dangerous we perceive them to be, or less of a threat to our
absolutely.
own well-being that we perceive them to be.
And that doesn't just mean white people viewing black people. This also means black people viewing black people. This is something that cuts both ways.
I mean, I don't think of the black maybe white people viewing black people, absolutely, but in terms of black people viewing black people, I mean, because again, we try to be neutral when it comes to these topics, because again, we've been at we've received the short end of the stick for so long. So again, we try to remain neutral. I mean, at least all the black people I know. I can't speak for the survey. I can't speak for the research or whatever out there. Mm-hmm. But at least what I know is, in general, black people, we aren't biased. We don't see a light-skinned black dude and a dark-skinned black dude and think he's less threatening than the dark skin. But we might clown. So? We might clown about it. We might make fun of it because that's what's in the media. You know what I'm saying? But we ultimately know that, like, I don't see him as more of a threat or less of a threat than this person. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on, again, the quality of the indiviral.
So really, you don't see when you see a white person, you don't on some level think their likelihood is less of a threat. That they're less likely to be a threat.
No.
You don't think so?
Don't tell me about the color. Don't tell me about the color of their skin. Tell me about where we are. Tell me about the neighborhood. Tell me about their history. Tell me about if they have a violent past or not. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. You can go into the inner city and be around a bunch of dark-skinned black folk who are intellects, people who are readers, writers, and have just awesome technical skills, who are going places in life. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Most of the Africans who come to this country are at the forefronts of the technical jobs out there. Most Africans who come to this country end up being engineers, lawyers, or doctors, or business people. Okay, so they are literally taking a lot of the technical jobs this country has to offer. Guess what? They happen to have very dark skin. So again, these are all just biases that have been created by white America and are being perpetrated through our media. That's what's happening ultimately. And
So I think that ultimately this Supreme Court ruling is a positive thing in the sense that it calls out. And even if you don't agree with the black perception, there is bias.
Our criminal justice system is biased.
Oh, absolutely.
It's racially biased.
Horribly
Our political system is racially biased. Yes. Absolutely. Whoever says it's not is lying through their teeth.
Or just don't understand or are
No, they understand. They're trying
genuinely people who are ignorant enough.
I think they know. I think they know, but they just
maybe
don't.
Deep down.
Yeah, deep down, but they just wish not to accept it
because that means they would have to hate the
I mean, think about it like this, Rich. You've heard of this statistic, right? White and black people smoke weed equally. Equally. Marijuana is a recreational drug. Marijuana is a medicinal drug. It's being legalized in states throughout the United States of America for recreational purposes. And it's being legalized in many states for medicinal purposes. White and black people use marijuana equally.
And
however,
the incarceration
rate for blacks using marijuana is far higher than that of whites. There's a prime example of our criminal justice system being racially biased.
Yeah. So,
and there are so many others out there. That's just one to name off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I think that hopefully, and the Supreme Court's been sort of wishy-washy on when it comes to race issues. This was such a blatant example that it merited being ruled the way that it was. Which means that you cannot write on your notes, this person is a black person, or indicate that there's some sort of reason why you're going to disqualify them because of the color of their
Look for the signs, y'all. They're like, oh, he's gonna disqualify me.
Is that cocaine?
No. I'm just saying, look for the body language, tug at the face, whatever. Stuff is out there. We know what it is, man. But at least we're talking about these issues, man, and that's why we're doing this. Talking about all of these racial issues is to let people know that hey, the world isn't glamorous. It isn't perfect out there. This is what's happening, but if you know the problem, then you can figure out how to work around the problem and inevitably solve it. And that's why we're doing Race to 100.
So
anything else you want to add, man?
I think that's
you did your thing, man. This guy's getting smooth hanging out with me or something.
Ooh.
You're almost there.
That's a compliment.
Episode number 1, you were the least smoothest,
I like to think
uncoordinated person I know.
Animatronic Ricks.
You know what I'm saying? The more we do this, man, the better you get. So
and the less I'm dancing too. So.
Well, maybe we'll do that towards the end. If you guys want to catch Rick's dancing, his moves are better than you think.
I'm gonna put out a music video. It'll be wonderful.
That'll be really tight, man. That'll be really tight.
We'll do a montage of all the clips of me.
So feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to our show. Any and all feedback would be awesome, and we appreciate your time today on Race to 100.
And we will catch you next time.
Thank you.